Hello everyone. So in this video, what we'll be doing is that I'll be doing the analysis of my certified copy of strategic cost management and performance evaluation. And in this video, what our primary focus would be on, the primary focus would not be on understanding the concepts of SCMPE. I am sure that you can very well understand them by going through the study material. But our focus would be primarily on how you should present your answers to score good marks in SCMP, as I scored 65 marks. So most of the students in our attempt in November 20 could not manage an exemption in this paper, even though it was so easy. And the primary reason for that was the presentation in the exams and the way analysis was done by the students and the way calculations and all were done, because our paper was very conceptual, analytical, though the questions were repeated from study material, but still the students were not able to fetch good marks. So let's see how it turned out to be in the end for me and how I managed to score such good marks. So let's see how it goes. So first of all, I started with my question with answer 3. So I'll also be discussing my approach when I started with the answer. So first of all, I started with answer 3 because this question was on the concept of economic value added. And as you can see, this question, the way it has been presented in the question paper, if anybody would be seeing this question for the first time, that person would find it very difficult to tackle it, especially if I talk about the facts and the figures that are given in the question and the way it has been presented. So for me, it was not that difficult because I had done a similar kind of question with the different figures in the study material, and the 4 parts that were asked in exam were also similar. Now I would like to draw your primary attention on the way the marks are allotted in the question paper. So if I ask you, like if you have to calculate EVA, for that 6 marks have been allotted. So for solving the numerical part, you are getting 6 marks. And then for evaluation of financial performance, that is the examiner expects some analytical point of view from your side. Then again he wants to assess, and then he wants to you to advise. So if I ask you that what is the analytical portion of the question, it is around 14 marks. So this is the beauty of this costing paper. Now the approach is shifting from a practical numerical based paper to a more conceptual analytical based paper. So I started with this question and let's see how I was able to fetch good marks. So first of all, talking about the question, it talked about first part, as I discussed, it required me to calculate economic value added. So first of all, I started with writing the formula, because every numerical question should be started with what is the formula that you are using to calculate EVA. And then I came out with this answer of minus 16 lakh along with the working notes. Now you can see the working notes are being presented in such a well-mannered form with proper structuring, proper presentation, and in a neat and tidy format. So here I am calculating NOPAT and then talking about the cost of capital. As we all know, cost of capital is the weighted average of cost of equity and cost of debt. So here I have calculated that. Now talking about the invested capital, again showing the examiner proper calculation of the invested capital. What other approach I could have followed was just wrote 1940 plus 11 and then plus 6. So I could have easily arrived at 1957. But I am also showing the examiner that I have ignored depreciation, because in the opening they have already mentioned that the depreciation, economic depreciation and accounting depreciation, there is no difference. Plus I'm showing that this is the thought process that I'm applying while arriving at this answer. Again, one of the mistakes that I did in the question, and I think you could have a lot to learn from it here. So first of all, when I was calculating my EVA now, I arrived at an answer which was positive 41.84 crore. Now in the at the back of my mind, I knew that I had solved a similar question in the study material, and in that I got a negative answer. So I just checked my calculation and realized that I was adding interest cost which was not required to be added, and that was something additional that I was doing. So this I checked after I had already attempted a few questions after this question. So I had already given this answer of EVA interpretation. So actually the EVA that I got earlier was positive. So positive EVA means positive value accretions for the shareholders, and again I am generating more returns for the shareholders. So now when I actually checked my calculation, found that the EVA is negative, I just rephrased my answer. Now see how cleverly I did that. So earlier I had written positive, I made it negative. Then I had written it is generating positive value for the shareholders. But now I have written that it is generating negative value for the shareholders. Actually, I had written that positive results and generated returns more than the cost of funds, because that's the concept of EVA. But now I have written that it is generating negative results and generating returns which are less than the cost of funds, and ultimately it is eroding shareholders' wealth. So I think the examiner got that approach, that I knew that what is the analysis in case when a EVA is positive and what is the analysis when the EVA is negative. Now coming to the third part of the question, where I was required to suggest whether this company is complying with the acceptable ROCE level. So if I calculated the ROCE, showed how I calculated my ROCE, gave the answer and stated that since the acceptable level is this and my level is this, I am complying with the provisions. Now talking about the profitability, this was again something which was asked for 7 marks, and I think I have first of all showed that what do I mean by profitability. So profitability is meant by operating margins there, because that was given in my question. So I was given operating profit, I was given revenue, so I calculated operating margin ratio and showed this. Now you would ask me that I could have calculated some other ratio also, but that's not the case. Now I am given 2 units and I am given here operating profit only, and no other details are there with me. So the best calculation that I can do here is calculate the operating margin ratio. Again, I'll give you a trick here. So since the question was similar to the study material, in the analysis part they had calculated the same ratio, but at that time I analyzed why are they calculating it. So this helped me in my exams, because I was sure that I need to calculate this ratio to compare the profitability of these two divisions. Got it? Now talking about the profitability. So I have showed that this division packing is having higher profitability than this, and because since this division is regulated, there is very little scope to expand its profitability. So I actually quoted this here, and I suggested this division should be continued since it's generating the returns which are higher than the cost, and the returns that it is generating should be applied here because it is generating more returns than this unit. So now what you got to learn here is that costing paper is no longer limited to the figures. See, this is the only figures part that I have done here. I have shown my calculation. Now this is all analysis that I am doing and providing my suggestion. And you can see that I have presented the answer in a very neat and tidy format with proper spacing between the paragraphs, which each paragraph dealing with different particulars. And most probably the suggested answers that are provided to the examiner for evaluating my answer would be having similar points only. Okay, and now in this question, out of 20, I have managed to score 15. So this is the whole point of this costing paper. It has become more analytical now. Now, if I talk about my question 5. So talking about question 5. Where is question 5? Question 5. Okay, now here is the question 5. So again, this question was similar to the one given in study material, but there was a catch that this 30% was only applicable for 600 units, but not for 900 units. So one could take an assumption while solving this question. So now the question is, you have to advise that which is the optimum plant capacity, that is should it be 600 units or 900 units. Again, I will just compare the suggested answer with my answer, and I will show you that how the institute is presenting and how I actually presented. So institute got a profit of 49 lakh and 66 lakh 98,000. So this is the same thing that I got. So most probably in the figures part, I could do well. Now talking about the analysis, as you can see that I have completed the analysis in just half a page. And if I talk about the institute's analysis, I'm sure that it would have done much better here. Yeah, so I think it's also similar on approach, but since it's printed, so you can't figure it out like if it will cover half a page or full page. But I think they have covered both aspects here, financial as well as non-financial consideration, and in my answer I don't think I have covered non-financial consideration, and that's why I have managed to score only 7 marks out of 10. So maybe non-financial consideration were for 3 marks here. Okay, now talking about answer 5b. Again, 5b was a repeat question, like basically a similar question was there in study material. So in this question, what's actually, I'll just give you a brief about it. So there's a company which is producing tea, and the main it is a premium brand, and it's providing finest quality of tea, and we are giving various variances. We have to interpret it. So actually, when I had done this question in study material, it was given as a part of the you can say in study material there are two types of questions, one which are given within the theory part and one which are given at the back as a part of the back question. So it was given among the theory only as one of the case studies. So I went through it. I understood that yes, since it's producing quality or finest quality of tea, so one of the critical success factors would be quality of the tea, and for that I think I also got 1 mark in my exam. So yeah, again I have mentioned quality here. So now you can see the presentation. I have actually like if anybody would be seeing, you would directly get its attention because I have underlined it and I have effectively mentioned that this is the answer, not talking about the interpretation. So in such questions there is wide scope for you to interpret the answer in okay. And now there would be some points that I would be looking at, since the company has a adverse sales price variance or 24,500. So I've expressed that company has adverse sales price variance means that the company has reduced its price to increase the sales. That's what the meaning of sales price variance. Now volume is favorable, so this is how I got this interpretation. Also reflected from favorable sales that I have shown here. Again, purchase price variance is negative, so which means that the cost of the tea has increased. Now there could be various reasons due to which the cost would have increased. Company would have changed its vendor. There would be a general rise in the price of tea. Company would have purchased in less quantities. Again, labor efficiency variance is adverse 14,003. I think one of the points that I missed here, that since the company is trying to maintain high quality, again to get high quality tea, companies paying high prices, so which is one factor that I missed out here, and maybe it reduced my marks. Again, the labor efficiency variance is adverse 14,300. Now what do we mean by labor efficiency variance? Means the productivity has gone down. Now what could be the reasons for the loss of productivity? Lack of motivation, lack of incentives, change in production method. Because if there is a change in production method, it will take time for the workers to get equipped with the new technology and the way the technology is working. Agreed. Now lack of adequate trained staff. If the training is reduced, the efficiency also falls. Now again, I also linked it with one of the points that fixed cost expenditure variance is adverse, means we have incurred more on the fixed cost than it was actually planned, which means that we could have bought an additional equipment. Since there is a new equipment, fixed cost expenditure variance is also adverse. So this could also be the reason due to which the productivity of workers would have fallen, because it takes time for you to get accustomed to a new equipment installed in your factory. So I covered it here, and this could also be the reason for fall in labor's efficiency, because I have written here that they may be ill-equipped with the new tech. So conclusion: to maintain quality, company seems to be investing in high quality materials that I covered here, to machinery, etc. To increase sales, company has reduced prices. So here I ended up my answer and ultimately scored I think 3 marks out of total 10 marks in this question. So in question 5, wait. Yeah, so in question 5, I could manage only 10 marks out of 20, and this was my second question. So examiner would, I'm not sure what would be going on in the mind of examiner. Now talking about question 4A. So yeah, this was the, you can say, saver question for me, life saving question, because I actually scored a lot of good marks here. And the reason was also similar, that these questions were covered from study material and I had to just apply my concepts, analysis, and ultimately I could go well through them. Let's get to this question. Now we are on question 1, man. Where is question 3? Question 3 सामने आओ. Question 3 कहाँ हो तुम? So question 3 तो ये है, मेरा question 4 देखना है. Okay. Question 4 तुम आ जाओ. Where is question 4? Sorry guys for the inconvenience. Yeah, so here is Mahesh Manjrekar. So Mahesh Manjrekar is a canteen contractor at Jamshedpur. He manages office. So again ignoring the concept, just showing you the presentation. So what ICI did here, let's see. So similar question was there in study material also. What we have to do is you are replacing a manual system with an automated system, and you just need to advise whether the company should do it or not. This is the, you can say, crux of the question. So when you advise whether to do or not, there are two types of consideration: financial and non-financial. So financial consideration, I calculated the benefit, that is 6,73,000 for 4 years, and I also calculated per annum benefit, because I did not know what kind of answer would ICI given it suggested. Now let's see what ICI has calculated. 6,73,000, that is for 3 years only. And one of the assumptions that I took in the questions was 52 weeks. wherein ICI has also solved it using another assumption, 365 days. I don't think that's much an issue here. And then again, ICI has given its advice that financial aspects it has shown that net saving was 6,73,000, and again this is what I have shown. So the company should opt for the plan from financial perspective. Now talking about non-financial perspective, again ICI has written here it would become more rigid. Employee may forget to carry the smart card, and I think the same point I have here written, employee may forget to bring his or her card and become uncomfortable for his or her. And then again I have scored 4 out of 5 marks here. So yeah, it was a rewarding question for me. Now you can see that after completing this question, I just made a line here to make it look more neat, and then I started my answer from the next page. Okay, so now this is something which was not required to be done because it was optional and I was more comfortable with the other part. Now talking about the 4B, again this proposal question was similar to the one asked in study material. So now I will show you the, yeah, it would get reduced by 13,500 per day and net benefit is 1,500 per day. So let's see how I calculated it. So yeah, 13,500, 12,000, and again 1,500 per day. So it, yeah, proposal is beneficial. Now minimum reduction, this is was something that was to be calculated 80 units. And again, ICI has calculated 80 units. So basically it was a practical question which involved just the use of numbers and concepts. And ultimately, if your answer is matching, you get the marks. So I was rewarded 5 out of 5 in this question. Now talking about the next question, which is 4C. So this was something where ICI actually tested that could you make analysis and could you reframe your approach when something new is given on platter to you. So what actually happened is on this in this question was there was a similar question in the study material in the test your knowledge part. So in that question also there were 3 divisions wherein the division A was supplying to B and C, and you have to devise a strategy for the overall company so that it is beneficial for the whole company. Again, this is the concept which was similar in this question, but they changed the you can say analytical part of the question by giving you different situations, like giving you different situation regarding the fixed cost capacity, giving you different situation regarding the price that division A can charge B and C on in that part. Now if you see the statement showing contribution per unit, so almost my statement would be similar: 12, 9, 9, 15, 20, 20, 11. So yeah, 12, 9, 9, 15, 20. Now this is something which would be matching my answer with the suggested answer. And if you would ask me the reason why, because I just quoted that a question on a similar pattern is there in the study material. So I knew like how should I present my answer to so that it actually appears good on the paper. Now one challenge that generally comes up with such kind of answers is that you have to put all these figures and all these headings all in that piece of paper, which is not even close to the register in which we generally solve our questions. So that is something a challenge on the part, and that's why my answer doesn't look that neat, and it could have looked had the size of the paper been more. So that's a challenge there, but still I think I coped up well with that. So how do you actually deal with such kind of challenge is just by practicing again and again. So if such kind of question I would have not practiced 2 or 3 times at my home, I would have not been able to manage to do it well in the exams. Then again, coming to the decision of capacity utilization. So the what ICI has done is that they have shown it through paragraphs and all. I actually showed it through proper systematic working, wherein I showed the additional contribution. I showed the additional cost. Then when I compared both, I could arrive at a decision that yes, since contribution is more than the cost, I can take decision yes, yes, and not applicable because division C I think is already operating at its 100% capacity. Now talking about the profitability statements, wherein I show actually that what would be the profit of the strategy that I suggest to the company. So I came up with the answer of 2,31,000. Let's see what I did. Where is the answer? Where is the answer? Yeah, so here it is, 2,31,000. So this is how I actually came up with that answer. And now if I talk about the analysis, I think ICI has already done their analysis here, wherein it has shown that best strategy versus existing scenario. I think one thing I actually would have missed out here was best strategy versus existing scenario. But ultimately, I could explain my strategy well here that A will supply to X first, then to B, and C will supply A will supply X to both B and C at same price because it was already mentioned question, and I actually reframed my recoded my strategy in a pointer form so that examiner gets to know that yes, I am not just firing in the air. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so here I scored 19 marks out of 20. Well, so now you can see that this was not a small question, easy question. It involved analyzing, it involved actually understanding the figures that were given, the strategy of the division, and ultimately it was also rewarding if you are doing well that at that point of time. And what helped me, as I just quoted, a lot of good practice. Now, if I talk about the next question that was answer to, so this was a question which actually bogged me down and many others in the exam room, because again this question was on a similar grounds as there is one in the study material, but it looks the similar only on the paper, but it's a lot different. Again, one learning from this question, as you would just see, 20 marks question. And if I talk about the strategy and understanding part, so see, recommendation of strategy involves 10 marks, identification of non-value adding activities 2 marks. So if I talk about the analytical aspect, again 12 marks, and if I talk about the calculation aspect, 8 marks. So now you see that if I talk about theory aspect in costing, it is not only just giving me advantages, disadvantages, or features, it also involves analyzing and interpretation. Okay, and now if I talk about how I fared well in this question, how well I fared in this question. So actually this question, if I talk about it, required me to calculate present selling price and profit per unit. And let's see what the ICI has come up with. 225% is the profit per unit, and selling price is 1125. What I could do is selling price 900, absolutely wrong. 225 profit per unit, right. Markup percentage automatically goes wrong because I am calculating markup on the wrong base, the denominator that I have taken here. But yeah, here I did well because I was able to find which is the non-value adding activity, that is the machine setup time. I think ISA also did the same. So that machine setup is the non-value adding activity, and I underlined, I knew that this is the non-value adding activity I am identifying, and should be easy for the examiner to trace the answer that I am giving. Then the third part I scored 0 because my answer is absolutely wrong, 787.5, and nowhere even close to the ICI's answer. But I think I did well here when I was giving the strategy. So in strategy, I talked about direct material, direct labor, how much company can save in these aspects, machine setup time, because it is a non-value activity, company can avoid it. But before phasing out completely, company should be careful that it should not impact the overall production process, then machine assembly time and value analysis. Now let's see what ICI has given in its own strategy. So again, value analysis, value engineering, these parts like elimination, durability, eliminate functions, design the product better. I think we reduction of design the product better. Uh, Eliminate cost can be minimized. Substitute parts. Can we design the product better? I think I would have written substitute parts also. Suppliers assistance, combine steps, better way, so I would have written definitely. Yeah, better way also I have written. So if I talk about the other aspects that, so yeah, you can see, so material ICI is covered, labor ICI is covered, machine setup again ICI covered. And again, the part that I covered, since these activities are carried out for a reason, the care should be taken that it should not adversely affect the production activity. And again, value analysis part that I covered in my answer, as you can see. Where is the value analysis? Here it is. So I could fare well in this. And again, if I talk about the whole question, 20 out of 20 marks, I could score 12 marks because my analysis and interpretation part was strong. And what actually helped me make it strong was because this question again was similar to the one given in study mat, and I actually got a similar question in one of my mock test also, the ICI mock test. So that here comes the importance of ICI mock test, because that gives you an insight like how the questions could be asked in the exam and how you need to approach the questions. Now comes the answer one. I don't think I will be able to discuss much here because this was something that I attempted impromptu, though the question was again from ICI study material only, similar to the one there. But yeah, if I just talk about it is a 20 mark question, and if I talk about how I now you can see prima facie the answer that I have written doesn't look like that I am writing some kind of shit here. It's just it appears to be a logically framed, well analyzed answer, and ultimately I think that created an impact on the examiner because I actually interpreted what was given in the case study, analyzed and wrote the answer, and actually it helped me fare 9 marks out of 20. So I can call it a bonus 9 marks because it was something which I was not prepared for, but it came in my exams. It actually involved application of my audit knowledge, because in audit I had actually done a chapter called public sector undertaking, in which involved these concepts of uh, what you call economy, efficiency, effectiveness, and I knew what each of these aspects mean and how I could apply these concepts to the case study given in the question. So what are the learnings here? You need to present your answers very well. I have already shared my certified copies with you all, and I also be attaching this copy under the in the description box, so you may go through it again. You may see how I presented my answers, and you may again compare them with the ICI suggested. But ultimately the learning is, if you practice more and more, you are confident in the exam situation and you are able to fare well. I hope this video added value to you, and stay connected for more such videos. For all my efforts, at least you can like the video so that it motivates me to make more videos, and yeah, you may share this video with your friends to help them. Ultimately, if we do good for others, God does well for us. Thank you for watching the video. Stay connected.